Liverpool against Tottenham. Let's preview this. Can either team finish in the top four? Big game at Anfield this weekend. Do you think, Nick, that either of these teams can catch Manchester United or Newcastle? Obviously, they've got a bit of ground to catch up, but in the case of Liverpool, at least, they look like their old selves a little bit. And Spurs, very Jekyll and Hyde all season, but they do have it in them to grab a big win at Anfield, which would just kind of keep their season going and keep their hopes alive. So there's hope for both Liverpool and Tottenham.
There is hope for both of them. I think Tottenham has that opportunity to maybe rally now if they have that heart in the room. Like, that's the one thing I keep thinking about with Spurs is if Conte is even remotely wrong from his rant, then how could you not be inspired to try to prove him wrong? Like, if you're in that room and someone basically told you you don't have any heart, and then you didn't show any heart for like 4 games, earlier this week, could it be the case that what they did against Manchester United, pardon the expression, spurs them forward into a better version of themselves?
Yeah, they were very good, right, in the second half.
Yeah, they were very good. And I think with Liverpool, the math is just against them. I think they are probably, on the whole, going to make people mad here, especially as someone who's supported Newcastle for quite a while. I think they're still the 3rd best team in the league. They just didn't get past their midfield doldrums. And the attack is firing now. The defense looks a lot better. And Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson, I wrote this the other day, normal service has resumed. They look spectacular.
Yeah, they do. And Liverpool do have a game in hand, Andy, on Tottenham heading into this final stretch here. So, this is a big game, right? If Liverpool win this one, then obviously they will overtake Spurs in the league and have a game in hand. So I feel like it's more doable for Liverpool than it is for Tottenham, perhaps. Do you agree with that? And Nick mentioned it there. Kind of feels like they're back to their old self with the fullbacks flying forward, a bit more balance about the team. And Gakpo and Salah in particular have really stood tall. And Diogo Jota. It's been nice to have him back in there. So a nice little balance about this Liverpool team heading into this weekend's game.
Yeah, I think just based upon where they can get points-wise, that they are more likely to do it. They're the team that's playing better and I think has a better, clearer idea of who they are as a club right now, and that's something that has been missing at Tottenham for a couple years now. And then they have gone through multiple managers trying to find that or maybe bring somebody in who tells them who they are and assigns them a new identity. It seems like that's kind of been the Tottenham way of late. And so it'll be interesting to see when these two get together, like the history between them over the last number of years is so slanted, so against Tottenham, so in favor of Liverpool. Spurs, no wins in their last 11 in all competitions against Liverpool, and 1 win in their last 21 across all competitions, and the vast majority, obviously, of those being in the Premier League. And so this is just, and we've talked about it before, this is a team that Spurs just never beat. They always struggle. They struggle with the press, and certainly the way that they try and slowly, methodically play the ball out of the back without the technical players that you need to play that kind of style. This could be ugly. I mean, it could be really ugly, and we have seen Spurs, their heads get down. We saw it against Newcastle. We saw it first half against Manchester United as well. A slow start against Liverpool, and it gets very out of hand very quickly once again.
Yeah, it surprises me, those stats, Andy. Great stats. I mean, because when we look at Liverpool against Tottenham, I feel like we've had so many epic battles and great sort of draws and back and forth, right, that you kind of forget it being that one-sided, but it's
a lot of valiant efforts from Tottenham, I think, is what it is, and they do show themselves well. I don't think they've been blown out too much by Liverpool, but they are always beaten. It's always a little bit of naivete. There's always a little bit of just that lack of quality, or perhaps it's just Liverpool having that elite quality over the years that is eventually tipped the scales.
Nick, is 5th a good season for Liverpool, all things considered? I mean, if they just miss out on top 4, the fact they finished 5th, Europa League, Jurgen Klopp's got to be pretty delighted with the way that they've come back. And if anything, finishing the season strong just gives them momentum to kind of get back on track. And you could see, like you said, that they would be in a title race again next season if they can figure a couple things out.
Yeah, I think it's good in that they found a solution. I still don't think you can call it a good season. They entered this campaign hoping to get a couple guys to kick on and to contend for a title, and that has not been a thing for quite some time. I think Jurgen Klopp, for as much as he was possibly, it's a weird thing to say with someone as him, a master motivator, I think he was scrambling for a while. I think he believed, we talked about this, I've harped on this maybe with the midfield, right? He thought he was going to develop these guys to kick on. And we've seen, if I can blame this on a phenomenon, if you will, because I think we've seen this at Tottenham, and I think we've seen this at Manchester United at times, thinking that your guys are ready before they are. And the difference is he didn't notice it in August and he couldn't do anything about it in January. I think this midfield issue is the reason that they're not in second or third right now. I really, really do, because the midfield would mask whatever step Virgil van Dijk might have lost. The midfield would mask when Trent Alexander-Arnold wasn't playing in there. So I really think counting on your kids, like you're going to get what happens with Arsenal sometimes, where just 3 or 4 kids pick it up and get going. But that is a rarity. And the media, and us included, we pat managers on the back all the time for giving youth a chance. And the fact of the matter is, usually that's at the expense of the table.
Yeah, no, it really is. I think maybe the sort of direction of the club as well, maybe just upset things a little bit, where there was talk of a potential sale. Then, okay, no, we're going to just look for some new investment. And maybe Jurgen Klopp was just questioning a few things off the pitch as well, and that impacted the transfer spend and what kind of players they're going after. So, yeah, make no mistake about it. It'd be a good salvage job for Liverpool if they could finish in 5th or maybe even sneak into 4th, but not the season they were hoping for. Andy, not the season Tottenham were hoping for. Obviously, Ryan Mason is back in caretaker charge. As I said, they surged back against Man United, showed a bit of grit and spirit, and were unlucky not to win that game. All the question marks are around Harry Kane, because Ryan Mason's been saying over here in the media that, you know what, I don't think Harry Kane gets the respect he deserves. He's actually much better than everyone gives him credit for. So the big question mark, though, is around his contract. He's got just over a year left on his current deal. Do you think he will stay at Tottenham, or where do you think Harry Kane will play next season? Because I was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in midweek and the Man United fans were chanting, "We'll see you in June." And I don't think Tottenham will let Harry Kane leave for Manchester United. Do you?
Joe, I'll answer your question if you answer one for me real quick first.
Right.
Why doesn't he get that respect there? Because I think it's absolutely right. And I say that from the outside, but it feels like you agree with that statement, right? So why is that?
I have no idea, to be perfectly honest with you. I think England fans really respect him, and maybe it's just kind of he's a pretty quiet guy, goes about his business, doesn't really kick up a bit of a fuss, and he just scores goals for Tottenham week in, week out, and for England, obviously, leading.
So what's the problem?
I don't know. There's a weird kind of attitude there around him, and maybe it's just the lack of trophies thing, and it's just the lack of, really leading the team.
Fans of any other Premier League club don't care about that.
You know what? England is, and again, I'm sorry, Joe, because we're the Americans in the room. England did the same thing to Wayne Rooney. You remember when he was literally the only player going at the 2014 World Cup, and yet it was still his fault that they didn't win.
Yeah.
England has a bizarre relationship with its star strikers. I mean, Joe, is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. And I think the only way Harry Kane can kind of get past that is going to probably a Manchester United and winning the Premier League title with them. Or if he would have been at Man City instead of Erling Haaland a couple of summers ago, and winning the title and Champions League with them. So, I mean, that's it. But Andy, what do you think? Because he's got a year left on his contract. It seems like Daniel Levy doesn't want to sell him to a top 4 rival in Man United or any other Premier League rival for that matter. So it seems the most likely thing. If he gets sold this summer, it will be to a Bayern Munich or somewhere else in Europe, and Spurs will recoup cash. But I kind of think Tottenham will just keep hold of him and say, you know what, if his contract runs down, it runs down. We've still got a much better chance of finishing the top 4 if Harry Kane is around next season.
Yep. Having had that conversation about the lack of respect for him there in England and among fans around the country, I think I've switched from thinking, well, he'll probably end up staying long-term at Spurs to he will run down his contract this year because, to your point, Levy not going to sell him within the Premier League. And I do see him actually going to United on a free. For that reason, because that is, England aside, his club legacy, if he is the all-time Premier League leading goal scorer by the end of his career, just one of the most prolific players that has ever played the game, but he has 0 trophies to show for it, obviously he's not going to love that. And it's going to ring a bit, hollow's the right word, but a little bit empty, I think. And I think he does care about those things. I think he cares about legacy, and he's a big Tom Brady fan, and Tom Brady talks about the word legacy all the time. And I think he kind of visualizes himself in that same way. And so I actually... I think he'll be there next year. but he's going to run the contract down and then probably leave on a free. And if anybody has a single bad word to say about him or him doing that, you need to reconsider. Just consider everything that he will have given to the club over nearly a dozen years at that point, and how little the club gave back to him. I mean, they gave him a lot of money, but they haven't really given him much else.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think any Tottenham fan will be like, you know what, it sucks that he's going to leave if he does leave next summer, but we cannot argue with his decision to do that for the final few years of his career. How about this? Erling Haaland goes to Real Madrid maybe with that clause in the next year or so, and then he does end up going to Man City for the last couple of years of his career and wins everything possible. But that's just a possibility. Just throwing that out there. Nick, what is the possibility of a Liverpool Tottenham win for this one? What's your score prediction?
Let's go with 1-1.
1-1.
I think there will be goals in the game. I think Spurs are in a bit of a rally formation, and Liverpool's kind of due to be flummoxed a little bit. I think Liverpool will be better money for it, but I think Tottenham steps up to get a point.
Andy, I'm going 2-1 Liverpool. What about you?
3-1 Liverpool. Extra day of rest that they're going to have in form. They're the better team.
All right, let's see who is the better team. This Sunday, Liverpool against Tottenham. Head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com. We'll have how to watch, preview information, live analysis, video highlights, and reaction of this massive game at Anfield between Liverpool and Tottenham. Let's see who can give their top four hopes, maybe faint top four hopes, but if whoever wins this game, if there is a winner, they'll give them a big boost in trying to get back into the Champions League.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.